Have you ever stood on the edge of the ocean, Jackson, looking out at the waves and wondering what secrets they hold? The sea. It's beautiful, but it can be so unforgiving. Today, we're diving into stories of shipwrecks, moments where human dreams collided with nature's power, human error, or just plain bad luck. These are stories of courage, tragedy, and survival that still echo through time.
Oh wow, Samantha, that's such a powerful image. The ocean is like this mysterious giant, right? It gives us so much, but it can take everything away in a heartbeat. I'm excited to explore these shipwreck stories with you, especially because they're not just history lessons. They're about real people, real choices, and for our listeners, a chance to learn English through these gripping tales.
Exactly, Jackson. Today we're going to talk about some of the most famous shipwrecks in history: the Titanic, the Sultana, the Dona Paz, and more. We'll feel the emotions of those moments and we'll learn some practical English along the way, vocabulary, expressions, and ways to tell stories that connect with people.
And for our listeners, whether you're just starting to learn English or you're already confident, we've got you covered. We'll explain new words, practice pronunciation, and share ways to use English naturally. So, Samantha, where do we start?
Let's set sail with one of the most famous shipwrecks of all time. Are you ready to step aboard the Titanic?
Oh, I'm ready. Let's go.
Picture this, Jackson. It's April 1912. The Titanic, this massive, luxurious ship, is gliding through the icy waters of the North Atlantic. It's called Unsinkable, a floating palace built by the White Star Line. People believed it was a marvel of engineering, a symbol of human progress. But progress, as we'll see, can come with a heavy price.
Yeah, I've heard about the Titanic, but it's hard to imagine how huge it was. Can you give us a sense of it? And maybe explain that word, unsinkable?
Great question. Unsinkable means something that cannot sink, cannot go under the water. It's a strong word, full of confidence, right? The Titanic was enormous, over 800 feet long, like 3 football fields. It had ballrooms, grand staircases, even a swimming pool. Rich passengers sipped champagne while workers below shoveled coal to keep the ship moving.
Wow, 3 football fields. That's massive. Let's practice that word for our listeners. Repeat after me. Unsinkable. Go ahead, say it.
Unsinkable. Perfect. Now let's talk about someone who was on that ship, Violet Jessup. She was a stewardess, a woman who worked serving passengers. Violet was young, brave, and had this incredible knack for survival. She was on the Titanic, but also on its sister ships, the Olympic and Britannic, when they faced disasters too.
Wait, she was on 3 ships that had accidents? That's wild. How do you survive something like that? And what's a stewardess? Can we break that down?
A stewardess is someone who helps passengers on a ship or plane. Think of it like a flight attendant today. The word comes from steward, meaning someone who takes care of others. Violet was helping people, serving tea, making sure they were comfortable. But when the Titanic hit an iceberg on April 14th, 1912, her life changed forever.
Okay, so the Titanic hits an iceberg. I know this part from movies, but what really happened? And can we learn a phrase to describe that moment?
Absolutely. The Titanic was moving too fast through waters known for icebergs. The crew ignored warnings. Human error, Jackson. When it struck the iceberg, the ship's side was torn open and water rushed in. A good phrase here is a disaster waiting to happen. It means something bad is almost certain because of mistakes or risks.
A disaster waiting to happen. I like that. Let's practice it. Repeat after me. A disaster waiting to happen. Go ahead, say it.
A disaster waiting to happen. Nice. Violet Jessup was on duty when the collision happened. She heard the crash, felt the ship shudder. Passengers were confused. Some even laughed, not realizing the danger. Violet was told to get to the lifeboats. Not enough for everyone, sadly.
Not enough lifeboats? That's crazy. How do you even describe that kind of panic in English?
You could say chaos broke out or people were in a panic. Both mean a situation where everyone is scared and confused. Violet stayed calm, helping women and children into lifeboats. She survived, but over 1,500 people didn't. The Titanic sank in less than 3 hours.
That's heartbreaking. Let's pause for a second to practice those phrases. Listeners, say after me. Chaos broke out. And one more. People were in a panic. Samantha, what made Violet's story so special?
Violet's courage and luck. She survived the Titanic, but also the Olympics collision in 2011 and the Britannic's sinking in 2016. She kept working on ships, never letting fear stop her. Her story shows resilience. That's a great English word, meaning the ability to bounce back from hardship.
Resilience. Love that word. Let's say it together. Re-sil-e-ence. Listeners, try it. Okay, Samantha, what's next? The Titanic isn't the only shipwreck, right?
Right. Let's travel to 1865 to the Mississippi River in the United States. The Sultana, a steamboat, was carrying over 2,000 people, mostly soldiers returning home after the Civil War. The ship was overcrowded, poorly maintained, and its boilers were ready to fail. Jackson, do you know what a boiler is? And can we learn a phrase to describe this overcrowding?
Not really. Is it like the engine of the ship? And can we learn a phrase to describe this overcrowding?
Good guess. A boiler is a machine that heats water to create steam, which powers the ship. When boilers are old or damaged, they can explode. For overcrowding, a great phrase is packed like sardines. It means too many people in a small space, like fish in a can.
Packed like sardines. That's vivid. Let's practice. Packed like sardines. Listeners, your turn.
So, what happened to the Sultana? On April 27th, 1865, one of the boilers exploded. The blast tore the ship apart and fire spread quickly. People jumped into the cold river to escape, but many couldn't swim or were too weak. Over 1,800 people died, making it one of the deadliest shipwrecks in history.
That's awful. How do you describe that kind of tragedy in English? Any expressions come to mind?
You could say a heart-wrenching tragedy or a devastating loss. Heart-wrenching means something that makes your heart feel heavy with sadness. Let's try it. A heart-wrenching tragedy. Say it with me, Jackson.
A heart-wrenching tragedy. Listeners, repeat that one. Samantha, it sounds like human error played a big role again. Overcrowding, bad maintenance. Am I right?
Exactly. The owners wanted to make money, so they ignored safety. It's a pattern we see in shipwrecks. Let's try a quick dialogue to practice some of these phrases. I'll be a passenger, you be a crew member. Ready?
Let's do it.
Excuse me, sir, why is the ship so crowded? It feels packed like sardines.
I'm sorry, ma'am. We're carrying extra passengers today. But don't worry, it's safe.
Safe. I heard the boilers are old. This feels like a disaster waiting to happen.
We're doing our best, ma'am. Please stay calm.
Nice job, Jackson. Listeners, try that dialogue with a friend or just repeat after us. It's a great way to practice natural English. Okay, let's move to another shipwreck, the Dona Paz in the Philippines. It's December 1987, and the Dona Paz, a ferry in the Philippines, is sailing through the night. It's packed with passengers, way more than it should carry. A tanker called the Vector collides with it, and both ships catch fire. The Dona Paz sinks fast, and the tragedy is unimaginable. Over 4,300 people lost, one of the worst peacetime maritime disasters.
Over 4,300? That's staggering. What went wrong here? And can we learn a phrase to talk about this kind of collision?
So many things went wrong. The Dona Paz was overcrowded, poorly equipped, and the crew wasn't trained well. The Vector was carrying oil which fueled the fire. A good phrase here is a catastrophic collision. Catastrophic means causing massive destruction. Let's say it. A catastrophic collision.
A catastrophic collision. Listeners, repeat that. Samantha, was there anyone like Violet Jessup here? Someone who survived against the odds?
There were a few survivors, but not many. One man, a passenger named Ernesto, clung to a piece of wood in the water for hours. He later said, "I kept praying and I refused to give up." That's another great phrase. Refuse to give up. It means to keep fighting no matter how hard things get.
Refuse to give up. I love that. Let's practice. Refuse to give up. Listeners, try it. Ernesto's story reminds me of Violet's resilience. Can we do a quick role play to practice this phrase?
Sure, I'll be Ernesto. You be a rescuer, finding me in the water.
Hey, you there. Are you okay? How did you survive this long?
I refused to give up. I held onto this wood and kept praying.
You're incredible. Hold on, we're getting you to safety.
Great job, Jackson. Listeners, practice that dialogue. It's a powerful way to use English emotionally. Now, let's talk about why these stories matter. Jackson, what do you think the turning point is in these shipwrecks?
I think it's the moment when human decisions, like ignoring warnings or overloading ships, meet nature's power, like icebergs or storms. It's like a tipping point, right? Can we learn that phrase, tipping point?
Perfect choice. A tipping point is the moment when things change dramatically, often for the worse. Let's say it. Tipping point. These shipwrecks show how small mistakes can lead to a tipping point with huge consequences.
Jackson, these stories, Violet Jessup, the Sultana, the Dona Paz, they're so heavy, but they teach us so much. What's one thing that sticks with you? For me, it's the idea of resilience, like Violet's story. She faced disaster after disaster, but kept going. And for our listeners, I think it's a reminder that learning English is like that too. Sometimes it's hard, but you refuse to give up.
So true. Let's review some key phrases we learned today. Say them with me, Jackson. A disaster waiting to happen. Packed like sardines. A heart-wrenching tragedy. Refuse to give up. Tipping point.
A disaster waiting to happen. Packed like sardines. A heart-wrenching tragedy. Refuse to give up. Tipping point. Listeners, say them with us. These phrases are so useful for telling stories or describing intense situations.
And they're emotional, right? They help you connect with people when you speak. Another lesson from these stories is about human error. So many of these tragedies, Titanic's speed, Sultana's boilers, Dona Paz's overcrowding, came from decisions that could have been different.
Yeah, it makes me think about responsibility. In English, we might say, own up to your mistakes, meaning to admit when you're wrong. Can we practice that one?
Own up to your mistakes. Let's say it together. Own up to your mistakes. Listeners, this is a great phrase for life and language. These shipwreck stories remind us that mistakes can have big consequences, but admitting them can lead to change.
And for our English learners, don't be afraid to make mistakes in speaking. It's how you learn. Samantha, what's one more takeaway from these stories?
Hope. Even in the darkest moments, people like Violet and Ernesto showed us that survival is possible. In English, we might say, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. It means even in tough times, there's hope for something better.
There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. That's beautiful. Let's say it. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Listeners, repeat that one. It's a phrase that can lift you up.
Well, Jackson, we've traveled through some stormy seas today, haven't we? From the Titanic's icy waters to the Dona Paz's fiery tragedy. These stories remind us how fragile life can be, but also how strong the human spirit is.
Absolutely. And for our listeners, we hope you've picked up some new phrases, practiced your pronunciation, and felt the power of storytelling in English. Phrases like refuse to give up or tipping point can make your conversations more vivid and real.
And these stories aren't just about the past. They teach us to be careful, to be brave, and to keep learning, no matter what challenges we face. Jackson, any final thoughts?
Just that I'm amazed by people like Violet Jessup. Her resilience inspires me, and I hope it inspires our listeners to keep pushing forward, whether it's with English or life.
Beautifully said. If you enjoyed the story, make sure to hit subscribe and support our channel, Speak Easy English, for more stories that inspire, teach, and connect. Until next time, keep learning, keep dreaming, and stay safe on life's seas.
See you next time, everyone.